Good morning, Pocono Mountain people. This is Sister Chat, and we are absolutely ready for a spectacular dialogue this morning. Our guest is Dr. Carmen Castro, who is an international business consultant, and she is so renowned. I'm going to let her fill you all in on who she is right after we all introduce ourselves. Can we kind of start with Hollie?
Hi everybody, I'm Hollie Kearns. I am a native of the Poconos, and my most important job is I'm a wife and mother. I'm a volunteer in the area, and I work at a local accounting firm called Riley & Company.
Hi there, Poconos. I'm Sara Katz, aka Lady Sara. Welcome. Glad to be here this morning.
All right.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lucille, and I've been in the area in the Poconos for about 25 years, originally from Orange, New Jersey, and pretty much volunteer community service. Oh, and also I'm a disability rights and special education advocate.
All right.
Good morning. This is Ayana, one of the youth ambassadors. Happy to have you guys tuning in.
And again, this is Mama C, aka Deborah Cofer. I'm going to turn it over to our special guest, Dr. Castro, to kind of fill you guys in on all of her credentials, because she's fabulous. I mean, we've been talking since we met online at Walmart, and it's like, wow. Dr. Castro, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, and I want to say hello to everybody in the Poconos. I am a resident of the Pocono Mountains for the past 16 years, but I keep a very low profile because I'm always overseas internationally doing my thing. I would also like to say hello to all of our listeners. We're making history today in the Pocono Mountains because we are being listened to in Oman, in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, London, Italy, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Bosnia, as well as in New York City, as well as in Florida, and all around the world, more than 151 countries, because I am a world-renowned speaker. So, and especially I want to like to say happy birthday to Frank. His birthday is on the 30th of November, the big 50. Happy birthday, Frank. And I hope that you're able to call in. Basically, I am an international distinguished professor of international business and comparative economics, but I'm also the CEO and founder for War International, and I also do motivational speaking around the world when it comes to business and when it comes to articulating the empowerment of women overseas and as well as in the United States of America. And even though we're here in the United States of America, I want to dedicate this show to Safa's mother, who is a mother who is raising 4 children on her own. And it is very beautiful to see that her struggle was my same struggle here as an American woman. And it doesn't matter where you're located, if you are a single woman, which I want to dedicate the show to all single women that are raising children on your own, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, there is.
You have to believe first in yourself for others to believe in you. And with that, let's start the show.
All right.
Wow.
I have goosebumps. Yeah. Come on.
Well,
Awesome.
and that really is the focus of Sister Chat, is to empower women to be able to see their own worth and go forward and, teach it to others, because we always want to teach it forward. Mm-hmm. And I'm currently a single mom after 26 years of marriage, so I understand how difficult it is for some people to get out there and really know what it is, what's the next step, what to do. So, Doctor, give us some tips for our single moms out there.
Well, most importantly, they have to believe in themselves for others to believe in you. But you have to be focused. That's the number one thing. And you cannot have fear. You have to be fearless to confront the unknown. Sometimes we fail because we stagnate and we procrastinate. And you have to embrace the unknown and be able to know that you will be able to conquer it. My mother was also a single mom. Happy birthday to you, Mom, Francisca Cochado, up there in Bronx, New York. I know you're listening.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
I know too many birthdays in my family, one after another. And the thing is, you have to believe in yourself and you have to overcome obstacles. And the only way that you could do that is empowering yourself with the right resources. That's something that's very important. And education is key. And even though women can be struggling, there's ways for them to get educated through scholarships, through other source of income. But education is the key in order to stop the cycle of poverty, not only in the United States, but around the world. So education is the key. We must become educated in order to rise.
That's right.
You know what, I so agree with that, and that's one of the things that I promote in my home with my 4 grandchildren, that education is the key. And I'm encouraging them to continue until they get their doctorates, so that anywhere they go in the world, they have value. They're not just stuck in one place or one job, that they have options, and that's the key. You want to have options, and education, it gives you that.
Well, and this last month, we actually had dedicated our show to domestic violence and domestic abuse in the home. And one of the things that has become very clear to us is that there are a lot of women living in those situations that don't know how to get out, and they don't know what to do once they're out, because they have been so they're in such a mindset that they are worthless or not worthy of going forward on their own. So my encouragement to all mothers that are in that situation, all single women, all women that are in that situation, is get out, find yourself, find your voice, and go forward and become educated. Because you're right, with education, even if it's something that you think you can't get a job in, just the knowledge of life and the knowledge that is there helps you to articulate yourself as you go forward. And the other thing that I always encourage women is to travel. If you have the opportunity, travel, because it does really broaden your horizons.
Absolutely, I so agree. And I think that when it comes to traveling, Dr. Castro definitely has done a lot of that. Can you tell us, Dr. Castro, what is one of your favorite places to travel to, and when you're there, what kind of response do you get from the people that you're interfacing with?
Well, I've been all over the world more than 5 times before reaching the age of 50. I'm proud to say that I'm 54 years old. And I even have my youngest son, Julius, with me on the radio station among all of these dynamic women. And he is filming us right now. And
awesome.
The radio show will be up in our corporate website. So if you want to see how we look like, you know, behind the mics, it'll be up in 2 hours after today's show.
And she also speaks 8 languages.
Wow.
And I think, you know, most importantly, I love the Middle East very much. I just came from Muscat, Oman. So for those students that I was teaching in Muscat, Oman, if you're listening to us right now, which I know you are, send us a selfie with an email directly to me and your question, and we will read it on the air for you. And the thing is, there's 2 different perceptions of the Middle East. We have the perception of what we see in the television stations in America, but the Middle East that I know is a totally different Middle East, and you really have to understand culture. And like I was saying to Deborah, I met one of the mothers from Oman, Safa's mother, and she had the same struggles and the same beliefs and the same priorities that we have for our own children, and that's what brings us together. That's why I love the name of this show, which is Sister Chat, because we're all sisters. Doesn't matter what religion, what culture, what color skin, if our hair is nappy or good hair, we're all sisters. We're all, you know, have this bond of being a woman, and being a woman is such a difficult thing and such a difficult title to be a woman.
Absolutely.
And it's very important, you know, for us to understand that the struggles happening here in the United States of America are also struggles for women overseas as well, and we have to bond together to overcome these obstacles. It's the most important thing. But I think out of all the countries that I've been, the Middle East is the one that draws me the most, because they are a new developing culture. For 45 years, they're coming into education, and it's an unsaturated market. And this is where opportunities are for women here in the United States of America to bring your knowledge base to the Middle East and to share your knowledge base and also make a comfortable living as well. And one thing that I want to point out, that we have to become mentors. And mentoring is something that is so important. When you mentor a person, it's such a rewarding and such a empowering experience. Like, you have to know when to mentor, because mentoring is very exhausting. So when I tell my students, or I tell my female network people. I said, okay, I could mentor you from this time to this time because I have this project, and for them to take turns in time the mentoring program, and for those students that are successful and students from the past, I told them not to forget where they come from and to mentor. I have Dasha Perez, who works for Unilever, Puerto Rican, and I met her when I was a professor at the College of St. Elizabeth. Now she is a managing partner with Unilever in charge of the United States and the Switzerland human resources. And I told her, give back, mentor, and she gives scholarships through a foundation for Hispanic students to go to school because she was a product of scholarships. And this is something that I tell to all of my students, that they have to give back. They have to mentor. Once they make it, give back to the society, give back to the community. And I expect the same thing with my students in Oman.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Ayana?
So how did you get started in this line of work? Was it something that always called to you, or was it a series of events that kind of led you into
Okay,
this area?
that's a beautiful question, and I want to say hello to Gordana Pasakovich, who was my instructor for my master's and my doctoral program at Augustine University, Sarasota, Florida. I met Dr. Bernard, who's one of my mentors. He's from Canada, and he speaks 4 languages, and my goal was to get my master in international business because I wanted to start Aurora International. But I traveled with him to Argentina. Chile was my first international project, and I fell in love with the response that he was getting from the students. And then I'm always mentoring, so I would teach some students on the APA writing, and then by the time it was 4 months to finish my Master of International Business, I decided to go into my doctorate because I saw that beautiful and positive vibe that I got from Dr. Bernard and also Dr. Pasakovich, and that led me into becoming a Doctor of International Business. And I think, you know, I found my mentors without me wanting to find the mentors, because when you find a mentor, you have to be in awe of that mentor. They have to have something that connects with you in order for them to change your life. And the thing is, you know, don't look for a mentor. Sometimes the mentor finds you.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely correct.
Absolutely.
I know that happened for me in both my undergraduate degree and my master's degree. So I agree with you very much. There's that one person that sticks out to you that just you're drawn to, that you can't listen to enough. And that is really how I felt during both of my programs.
Mm-hmm.
Lucille?
No, the reason why I'm sitting here in awe. We're all around the mics, and we're here listening to you. It almost feels like almost a fireside chat where you're sitting down and you're just listening to every word, every syllable that person says.
Yeah, we're having coffee. We're having, you know, a nice little pastry ring that Mama C
Mhm.
brought in. And that is the feeling that I think we always have at Sistah Chat,
Yes.
is that we are a community of women.
Yes.
And that is the most important. We want our energy to reach out through the mics to everyone that's listening, but we love what happens in this room every Sunday
Just the
morning.
energy, just the
It's
vibe,
an
the
amazing
energy.
feeling.
But I have a question that I've been holding on to all morning.
Go ahead, Lucille.
When they said she was going to be the guest, and I saw the little, information, I had to look up D.B.A. I did not know what that was. And I wonder how many people out there know what D.B.A. stands for. And if you would be kind enough, don't worry, I cheated, I Googled it this morning. but I was just so fascinated. I really hadn't heard that term before, and I consider myself a little savvy, but please.
Yeah, well, that's what makes me unique. I was one of the first professors with a doctorate of business administration to start teaching in the Middle East, and it wasn't accepted at that time because everybody thought that a doctor who was supposed to be teaching as a professor only had to have a PhD. Now the D.B.A. Program and the D.B.A. degree is very widely known around the world, and I consider myself a pioneer in the Middle East and also in Europe to bring the D.B.A. into fruition and for people to know. What it means is that we are doctors in theory as well as the application when it comes to business administration, because we own companies and we also know the theories. And when I did my doctoral dissertation, I wrote it on Hispanic women in international business, why so few, because it's a male-dominated industry, and I hope to change that not only Hispanic but African American and just, women in general could come into the international business program. So thank you so much for pointing that D.B.A, because a lot of people don't even know that we exist.
Absolutely. I had never heard of it before either, but she had told me what it was, and I thought that, wow, we as women are really helping to pioneer a lot of new venues. And I think that as women, it's important for us to understand we have that kind of power. We have that kind of ability. We just need to believe in ourselves, and we need to exercise that power that's just yearning and churning inside of us to come out. It's just that for so many years, we've been held back by a lot of stereotypical nonsense that keeps us from stepping forward and into our greatness and, connecting to one another. And when we as women connect to one another and share, we had a conversation before we went on air earlier, that how important it is. I believe in win-wins. If you're bringing something to my table, I want to bring something to your table as well. It's not all about me, and there's a terrible sense of entitlement, I think, that's permeating in our society and maybe even around the world. But we're not entitled to anything that we don't earn. That's the reality. So you can live in whatever sense of entitlement you want to live in. That's your dream. That's your fantasy. That's whatever it is you contrive it to be. But the realities of what it is that we as women bring to the table and how we can connect to one another and share and learn and be and become and grow into our greatest selves is an awesome reality. And I choose to live in that reality personally,
Well, my degree is in sociology, liberal arts college graduate, obviously something that you're never going to get a job in.
Yes, you will. That's what I advocate.
But what you do is you do use it in every part of your life, because I can't stop studying people. I do it all the time. While we're sitting here, when I'm looking at Facebook, I always figure, what's going on behind all that? I'm dying to know what you think. Coming from that, I came from a liberal arts college atmosphere where discussion and learning was key. What is your feeling about the current trend that things are too scary to talk about?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've
been dying to ask somebody this for like a year. Because you go back and forth. It's like, as a person who loves dissertation and knowledge and discussion and debate, I can't contemplate spending $100,000 on sending my son to school so he's not allowed to talk about anything because it's too scary for everybody. It's beyond me at this point. So I want to know what you think about it.
When I'm teaching overseas, I tell students that if I'm teaching international management that international management is the study of culture. And here in the United States, in any institution that you go, you have to study the culture within the culture. So that's something that's very important. So depending on how the culture is, you will be able to know whether you have the freedom of speech that we have as Americans. But also when I'm overseas, sometimes I take a risk in my lectures because I talk about, that when we're doing international business negotiations, they have to do business with everybody, and that the political view of whatever culture they're dealing with has to be put aside, and it's only strictly business. But here in the United States, it is becoming a very scary trend that we don't have the autonomy when we're doing the lectures. And I think that, the only way you could do that is by really understanding the culture within the culture and really taking, an inside look of the people running the administration and to see what is flexible and what is not. And we talked about your book earlier because she had a very fancy title for a book, and she said, let's fill in the blanks. Sometimes you're going to have to fill in the blanks, and you have to look at different words to bring your message across. That makes sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny is that we as Americans go, well, other cultures are repressing information. you know, you can't talk about this in Asia, you can't talk about this in the Middle East, and it's, you know, politically incorrect to do this here. But now it's becoming where we're the ones that are
Correct.
actually changing speech so much that it's dangerous to talk about certain things in certain places now, and it could be something that we would have talked about 20 years ago in a classroom with 80 people in an auditorium, you know, and you know, you're discussing it, the same thing. So it's just really amazing to me.
And with that, we are going to take a short break. This is Sistah Chat on 96.7. We'll be right back.